Hey guys, welcome back. As I said in my first video, I do offer a service for providing expert personalised feedback to your personal statement. This can be done by dropping me an email. All of the details have been posted below, so make sure you check it out. Hope you guys enjoy the video.
Hi guys, and welcome to what is my final video of this economics personal statement day. And this is going to be an insight to what a good personal statement should look like. I'm going to sort of show you what a fantastic personal statement looks like, and then sort of go back and reflect on what mine looked like when I was 17 and applying for university, like much of you guys will be. I'm going to start with the one which I've got online, which is just absolutely phenomenal. And I'm going to sort of read it out paragraph by paragraph, and after each paragraph, sort of like analyze what they've done well and any potential room for improvement. So I'll dig right into it. I'll go through just to say this is an exceptional personal statement, and any sort of criticism or sort of areas I'm saying of improvement are very minor, and just sort of things that I've picked up on whilst reading it. It's quite ironic because I'll be picking out on the little details on this one which I think could improve, and then I'll show you guys my personal statement, and I will just rip it to pieces now. But yeah, without further ado, I'll get going. I'll move my camera so it's not in the way. Just over here. Okay. I'll move it up a bit more. So this is the one I got online, which is just top class. The right answer. Does such a thing even exist? When considering the fields of mathematics, my response would be an unequivocal yes. Indeed, I find its simplicity and elegance some of its most attractive qualities. For economics, however, the question of a right answer is not so straightforward. My interest in economics was sparked when I read Freakonomics and Super Freakonomics. I found the search for a logical explanation behind a seemingly illogical behavior intriguing, and the idea that a small change of incentive could affect such a large change to those behaviors fascinating. Okay, so on this first paragraph, they've sort of chucked in a couple of questions. They've sort of opened up the sort of debate to sort of show that they are interested in economics. They sort of have kept it sort of a bit broad and open, before sort of digging into the great detail. I think one criticism I have here is that they sort of jumped into the personal statement a little too fast. So they've already jumped in straight away saying, oh, I've read Freakonomics and Super Freakonomics, whereas this should be something that should be sort of saved for the main body. I think they've got an interesting sort of unique approach. They're saying maths is like a right answer, yes or no. Economics isn't so straightforward, which sort of intrigues them. So it's a nice sort of opening, sort of gets you sort of thinking about it, thinking about where they're sort of going to be going with this personal statement. So I progress. To further my understanding, I attended lectures at the LSE, including one given by Hajong Chang. His argument challenged much of what I had learned. Deregulation and trade liberalization would not, apparently, stimulate competitive growth, while education, it turned out, could not be counted on to increase entrepreneurship or productivity. These contradictions made me eager to read his 23 Things They Don't Tell You About Capitalism and Bad Samaritans. Although relishing his controversial stance on almost everything, I found his central thesis that by using protectionism to support fledgling domestic industries, other poor nations can emulate South Korea's success, overly optimistic and one size fits all. As Paul Collier argues in The Bottom Billion, many are trapped by conflict or bad governance, with even bleaker prospects after missing the boat on which many Asian economies sailed away to prosperity. Okay, so this paragraph is very good. They've sort of straight away showed that they've gone above and beyond by saying they've attended lectures at LSE. And what they've done is they spoke about the lecture and said, right, I've gone to this lecture and I went away and read his book to try and understand his ideas a bit more. So it shows that they've sort of really developed on what they've done and really reflected on it. So they've gone to the lecture, read the book, questioned some of the ideas in it, and said it's a bit too oversimplistic. And then from reading that, they've sort of backed it up by saying, okay, so I went to Paul Collier's book to understand the sort of differences in these sort of ideologies. And yeah, so I think what they've done really well is sort of created a path, created a story. And yeah, they haven't just accepted what they've read as gospel. They've sort of gone elsewhere to sort of look for other competing lines of argument. The one sort of area I sort of, again, very small sort of criticism. I think the line which begins with, although relishing his controversial stance, and so on, is quite a sort of complex and difficult to sort of understand sentence, sort of broken up with commas, dashes, and just seems a bit all over the place. It's a great thesis, like it's a great argument he's going with, but I feel like it's just a bit all over the place. Okay, I'll continue. While economics is rooted in the world around us, with all its fascinating, messy complexities, mathematics derives from its beauty from its abstract nature. It is unique in that it can lead us to an answer that is not merely the right one, but is true in an absolute sense. This was emphasized by G.H. Hardy in A Mathematician's Apology, where he spoke of the mathematical reality distinct from the ordinary one, of which we can only ever hope to produce a partial and imperfect copy. Another one of the appeals of mathematics is its breadth of application. I was able to explore this over the past 3 years in a series of Royal Institution masterclasses, covering topics from graph theory to the mathematics of juggling. My decision to continue with the mathematics was confirmed when I undertook the AEA. I found it challenging, but immensely satisfying to be able to use simple concepts from the A-level core modules to solve even the most daunting problems. Okay, so this is where I sort of begin to question this personal statement. It's very mathematics focused. And this is where you just need to be a bit cautious, because you are applying for economics and you don't want to get sort of too distracted and sort of going off on a tangent when you're talking about maths too much, when you're looking more at economics. I understand the sort of core argument behind this personal statement is that, yes, maths is absolute, but economics is a bit, oh, you don't know what's up in the air. And they said how maths is an absolute and economics isn't. And when we talk through my personal statement, you'll see why I'm sort of chuffling a bit myself now. What they've done brilliantly is they've sort of integrated their experience into what they're writing. So they talked about how they have done masterclasses, but more importantly than that, they sort of reflected on what they've done. So they sort of said that it was immensely satisfying to use what they learned at A-levels to solve these problems. They've sort of explained and sort of talked you through what they've been doing. And of course, they've sort of referenced books as well. So you've got G.H. Hardy's book. So they sort of integrated the sort of academic side with what they've done in their personal life and really sort of reflected upon this all. And what I did quite like about this is when I was reading it, you saw that they said they went to the Royal Institute masterclasses covering topics from graph theory, which is very mathematics, to the mathematics of juggling. So something which is completely random, which wouldn't be in anyone else's personal statement, and really makes this personal, because that's what they enjoy learning about. I'm going to continue going through, but you've seen that last paragraph is about maths. And when you start looking at this, the very first sentence of the next one, it's, over the past year, I've mentored 2 students in maths. So it shows that there's a link between the paragraphs and that they sort of have this holistic feel. But yeah, I'll read this next paragraph. Over the past year, I've mentored 2 students in mathematics, explaining concepts to help them deepen my own understanding and led me to explore proof behind theorems I'd previously accepted. In addition, acting as a primary school classroom assistant inspired me to set up my own volunteering scheme, in which I and other students help children learn to read. I've enjoyed competing in the UKMT Mathematics Challenge, in which I won a medal at the Olympiad level, and the UK Linguistics Olympiad, in which I twice progressed into the selection rounds of the national team. I've also represented the school in the Hans Woyuba competition, and I'm excited to be doing the same in the Target 2.0 challenge later this year. Okay, so I do kind of want to pick this one apart a bit. Again, it sort of continues sort of with the monotony of maths. It keeps talking about maths, and it's an economics personal statement. It's gone a bit too far off tangent, but nonetheless, we'll sort of progress and we'll sort of depict this paragraph. Despite it being brilliant, there are some sort of areas where we're like, oh, you could have made it slightly stronger here. So I think quite a lot of the time, this candidate has just sort of listed what they've done. So they said, I worked in a primary school and I set up a sort of volunteering scheme. I've competed in the Olympiad. I've won this. I've done that. I've done this competition, and I'm going to be doing another competition. But they haven't reflected on what they've learned from each competition or each thing that they've done. And without reflection, sort of this becomes almost like a list where they're saying, I've done this. But that doesn't add any value. You need to say what you've learned from what you've done. So it'd be better if they said, okay, cool, yeah, I've done this math challenge and this really developed my analytical ability and really helped me to solve problems in any sort of form of life. Or I done volunteer, I helped in the primary school classroom, and this really helped my communication skills and really sort of develop my confidence. And this can be applied to university life. So yeah, I think this paragraph is quite listy, although it sort of has their experiences. And it just needs a bit more reflection. I'll go on to the next paragraph. So, despite their differences, the authors I mentioned above hold something in common: the use of empirical methods to reach conclusions. It is here that the attraction of the combination of the study of mathematics and economics becomes especially apparent. Without mathematics, economics Without mathematics, economics risks beginning to earn its title as the dismal science, reducing to speculation and rhetoric without even the emotional investment enjoyed by politics. This is not to dismiss the importance of normative economics, but to say that it draws meaning from basis in fact. I'm not arguing for a soundbite solution to complex questions, but rather that, even in a field as hotly debated as economics, the right answer is still a worthwhile goal, reachable through the use of data and copious amounts of trial and error. Okay, so that's a brilliant conclusion, sort of summarizing the whole piece. I think what they've done well is they sort of tied in this maths link. So you are sort of questioning throughout, why are they talking about maths again? Why are they talking about maths? They're sort of saying, okay, yeah, maths gives an absolute sense and it gives economics its backing and it makes it the subject what it is. Without it, it would just be a game of just, oh yeah, you say this, oh, say that. You need this claim and this sort of mathematic backing behind economics. So they sort of have approached it from quite a broad angle, but they've done it in a thorough way, really sort of understanding economics as a whole and sort of using their life experiences to show this. And yeah, they sort of have sort of ended it on quite a strong sort of ending. They sort of saying that, right, I don't need to have a perfect solution to everything. I just need to know that it's a worthwhile goal and that it's been reached in the right manner. So yeah, on the whole, a phenomenal personal statement. I've sort of tried to read it out to you so you can get an idea of what the standard is from like the absolute elite, what you're trying to reach, what your goals are. And yeah, there are some comments and the universities that this applicant applied to. So they applied to Cambridge, LSE, Warwick, Bristol and Durham, and no surprise, got an offer from all of them. So obviously a sensational applicant. I'll just read through the feedback that was available online. So the good points were that this statement is thoughtful, interesting, and conveys a clear motivation for studying economics, as well as demonstrating a good level of preparation for university study. The student elaborates on their response to each preparatory activity they engaged in, rather than falling into the trap of simply listing books and lectures attended. They are clearly passionate about the subject and show promise as an economist. which they demonstrate in, again, not only in their listing their achievements, but explaining what they took from the experience, subtly indicating what this tells them about them as a student. And the bad points, I have very little to say in criticism of this essay, except that perhaps it could have come across as a little cliche, questioning whether there is such thing as the right answer in the introduction, and concluding that the pursuit of the field to which they're applying for further study is worthy, are both very common. Yeah, again, they say they had very little to say in criticism. I'll take that with a pinch of salt. Overall, this is an exceptional personal statement. Not only is the student accomplished, they convey this without bragging and in enough detail that we gain an insight to their abilities, motivations, and personal interests, rather than simply receiving a list in prose form. Although the ideas in which the students begin and conclude the statement are somewhat unoriginal, the explanation found in between is exceptionally strong and justifies the unoriginal sentiment. They're clearly not adding as throwaway lines. Sorry, got a little bit of water. I'm talking for a while. So I was chuckling a little bit earlier to myself. Quite sad that I just stood together and laughing. So they were sort of, their whole personal statement was saying maths is an absolute, but economics, it's got so many possibilities. It's not an absolute, it's different. I'm now going to read you through my personal statement. Just bear that in mind, what I've just said. Mine is nowhere near as strong as this. There's some good content, but in general, it's not the best. So yeah, we'll go up to the top now and sort of have a little look through it. So just the whole last statement was saying economics is up in the air and it's up for debate. And I've literally started my personal statement with economics is an absolute. To just completely contrast their personal statement. And you'll see when you go through that, mine just doesn't back it up in any way, shape, or form. But nonetheless, we'll go through it. But before we get started, I just wanted to point out one thing about my personal statement. Well, I'll point out a lot of things, but before we start, you can sort of see already the structure isn't quite there. So I've got this massive long opening paragraph when it should be an introduction of about 6 lines, so about 3, 6, yeah, so it should be about that length, and it's about 2.5 times that length. So the first thing is just a massive big paragraph sort of hitting you, doesn't look the best, and then you've got a really short one, and then a massive paragraph, and then a big paragraph. It hasn't got the same sort of structure, which immediately sort of stands out. So this one is very well structured, it's very clear, it's very concise, whereas mine just looks very big and bulky and not very well organized. But I'll go on, I'll read my personal statement, I'll pick out some of the flaws so you can sort of see some of the traps that I've fallen into. If you've watched some of my other videos, I've mentioned some of the common pitfalls, and I seem to have fallen into every single one. Nonetheless, let's go. Economics is an absolute. John Kander said, "Money makes the world go round." This motto was a significant reason for taking A-level economics. This passion was cemented following my extended project on how football impacts the UK economy. This project combined 2 deep passions of mine, football and economics. Ever since I could walk, I was chasing a football around and have played the sport for 15 years now. I learned in this project about the interrelationship between football and the economy. My extended project has expanded my research skills and allowed me to formulate my own ideas, which I believe will assist me for university life. History has helped me to build on these researching abilities, improve the quality of my essay writing, and improve my capability of coming up with a personal judgment on controversial issues. Maths has helped me to improve problem-solving skills and strengthen my analytical skills. Over my years at Watford Grammar, I've competed in the maths challenge often. I believe that maths will strengthen my economic understanding by using my problem-solving ability. I believe that politics has interlinked well with economics, as we learned about David Cameron's austerity plans and how this could cause negative impacts on the UK economy. So there are some strong points and some weak points to this first paragraph. Firstly, I said, yeah, it's far too long, should be about 6 lines. Beyond that, this sentence here, money makes the world go round, and that was a significant reason for taking A-level economics. I said one of the pitfalls is, or the red flag is, don't say you're studying something for the money. Just avoid saying that, because you want to be saying you're passionate about economics, not passionate about money. I've jumped straight into my personal statement too quickly. So I've already started talking about my extended project and all about that. That should be saved for the main body, so the second paragraph onwards, not the introduction, which should be just a short overview. Classic cliche line, ever since I could walk. That doesn't really add much to why I am studying economics or why I wanted to study economics. And also my extracurricular activities really should be in the penultimate paragraph. Looking through, I think what I've done quite well was I did reflect on what I've done. So I said my extended project has expanded my research skills and allowed me to formulate my own ideas. So I didn't just say I've done an extended project on this. I said what I learned about it and how it's going to help me in the future. So I think that was really well done. But again, shouldn't be in this area. It should be in a second paragraph or later. Another common thing to avoid is just listing your subjects that you've done, because they know what you've done. It's on your UCAS application, your grades are there, what you've studied is there. So there's no point listing it. And I've gone and said, oh, history has helped me do this. Oh, maths has helped me do this. Oh, politics has helped me do this. And ironically, the one thing I missed out was economics, but I guess with an economics personal statement, it isn't as important, because the whole thing is about economics. Not that economics isn't important. Yeah, it's just far too long and a bit too. I'm just telling them what they already know. Why am I telling them that I'm doing history, I'm doing maths, I'm doing politics when they already know that? So all of this really is just a waste of space, and doesn't really help my cause for getting a place in economics at university. But I'll progress onto the next paragraph. So I am an avid reader of The Economist and believe that these articles help to widen my economic understanding and help me to apply theory to real life situations. These articles provide expansive information on the global economy and focus on up-to-date issues worldwide, thus help to keep me informed on the entire economy. Well, that is just an absolute waste of a paragraph. It's terrible. I have literally just said, oh, I read The Economist, and then just explain what The Economist is. Okay, if you read The Economist, great, but talk about what you read in The Economist. Talk about what articles have interested you, how this has sort of driven your passion. Say, when you read an article, make sure you're reflecting on it. Say what you learned from it. Say what you challenge about it. Don't just say you read The Economist, because that's an absolute cliche thing to do. Say, oh, I read The Economist, you're great. Everyone's saying that. You want to say what you read in The Economist. You want to say what excites you. And yeah, this last sentence, I'm literally just saying what The Economist does, not saying anything personal to me. I'm not saying anything different. I'm just literally just commentating on it, which is a waste of space and a waste of time, to be honest. On to the next paragraph. Outside of my academic life, I have volunteered at an Oxfam charity shop. This improved my responsibility and maturity, which will help me in various aspects of life. Tutoring in maths and history has improved my confidence and improved my capability in explaining myself clearly and allowed me to develop my student skill sets. Alongside tutoring, I've also worked in marking 11+ entrance examination papers. This has strengthened my precision in spotting incorrect answers and gave me an experience in education beyond being a pupil. I have also completed a week's work experience in a foreign exchange company, Moneycorp, where I shadowed a banker working in the stock exchange markets, a career I wish to pursue. This enabled me to gain relevant experience and gave me an opportunity to experience working life in London. As a senior prefect, I've run many charity events, such as a penalty shootout, a cards tournament, and most recently, a teacher against students football match, which I participated in. Running these charity events improved my organizational skills, as I had to advertise the event, collect the money, and run the events on the day. I believe it's these organizational skills which will aid me in life at university. These charity events also improved my communication skills and allowed me to lead a team of prefects and delegate tasks accordingly. Okay, so this paragraph isn't too bad. It's obviously looking at my extracurricular activities, what I've done outside of university, what I've done outside of my studies. But it's too long, firstly. You should be aiming for about 10 to 12 lines for your extracurricular. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So far too long. So this all should be sort of cut, maybe that sort of much. Apart from it being too long, it's not bad, but it's not really linked to economics. If you are sort of saying anything extracurricular and you're sort of dropping in the skill sets it gives you, try and link it to why it's going to help you get in for economics and how this is going to help you in the future. So I just sort of said, I believe these organizational skills will help me in life at university, but I haven't really said how they're going to help me in economics, how they're going to help me get this place that they're offering. So I think it could be a bit more tailored towards specifically why economics, really. But yeah, I think I sort of fell into the trap of very much sort of getting overexcited about my life and what I do and everything I've done, and sort of just talk for ages and ages about that, when the extracurricular should be quite concise and should be talking directly about economics and your link to it. Another sort of grey area I sort of touched on is when I said I was working, I had a work experience at a foreign exchange company, Money Corp, where I shadowed bankers on a stock exchange, a career I wish to pursue. A sort of red flag is that you don't want to be saying that you're studying economics or any degree just for the money. And this is kind of treading on that, treading on the toes of that, saying, oh, I want to do banking because I kind of want money. That's why I want to study economics. I don't really want to study economics. I just want the money. Not directly saying it, but think of it as you will. Yeah, big paragraph, needs to cut down, need better structure. Right, just on to the conclusion now. Why am I applying? The main reason is to further my knowledge in the field of economics, particularly learning about the macro side of economics to help me progress to a strong career using my degree. I'm also excited by the various extracurricular activities and living an independent lifestyle. I acknowledge that studying economics will be challenging. However, my studies shall prove rewarding. Should the UK leave the EU? Is austerity the way forward? Should the UK adopt the euro currency? These are all questions I have a keen interest in, and hope that studying economics will help me to answer these questions and further my knowledge on these, as well as many other controversial issues. Not a bad conclusion. Obviously not as strong as the other personal statement. I've sort of kind of summarized what I've put in above, and sort of given a bit of my motivation for applying. But I think it's come a bit too late. Your motivation for applying on why specifically economics should really be in the introduction to sort of ease you in, and the conclusion should be more of a sort of summary of the whole piece. Again, conclusion's too long, should be about 4 lines, so about that long, and I've gone more than double the amount, which kind of makes it look a bit chunky and a bit. Also used a lot of rhetorical questions, which isn't really a confident academic way of writing. So I'm asking all those questions a bit wishy-washy, whereas I should be sort of saying, right, this, what I want to do, and sort of be solid in what I'm saying. On the whole, it's okay, but I do sort of say, oh, I want to study macroeconomics. So sort of introducing something new right at the end of your personal statement. So in the conclusion, you don't want to be bringing in any more new ideas. You just want to be summarizing everything up. And I think at the end it's a bit generic and sort of standard, saying, oh, these are questions I want to answer to further my knowledge, as well as other controversial issues. I haven't really sort of had a line or a message I've sort of pushed through this personal statement. It's been quite generic. So yeah, that was my sort of comments on it. I hope this session's been useful, where you've sort of seen a world-class personal statement and compared it to mine. I'm not saying mine is bad, but it's not as good as it could be. If I sat down and went to write one now, I know it would be a lot stronger. I think it's easy to sort of look in hindsight and say, oh yeah, now that I've done 3 years at Cambridge, this isn't very good. But at the time, I thought this was brilliant. And I'm sure you guys as well will also be writing personal statements that you think are brilliant now, and in the future will be like, oh, why did I write that? But yeah, hopefully I've given you a few tips and a bit of feedback that you guys can really take on board, so that when you're writing yours, you know what to look out for. This is the last video I've done, and I really hope these video series have been really useful to you guys. I wish you all the best with your applications. I'm sure if you've sort of followed some of the tips, you can have the structure to really give yourself the best chance. And yeah, just really want to wish you guys all the best. I'll see you guys later. Now just the awkward turning and stopping the video. Where's Zoom gone? Stop share and stop recording. See you guys later.